You ever give somebody a quote on an art project and then it's like that's the last you've ever heard of them? Or maybe they come back and say, whoa, that's a little too much. And then you start to think to yourself, am I charging too much? I want you to rethink that. Greetings, people of the internet. I'm Scott with CircWorks Art Labs. Welcome, mad creators, to the underground laboratory where we create robots, aliens, zombies, and other imminent threats to humanity. Some of us are fortunate enough to do that for a living. Maybe some of you guys aren't actually drawing robots and aliens and all that stuff, but I do. That's what I do. That's what I like to do. And sometimes I'm lucky enough to get paid for doing that. So, but a lot of times when I'm doing this, it's not always, you know, I don't think I have the highest prices. I definitely don't have the lowest. I know I don't have the highest. I'm probably somewhere in between. But I've been doing this for a little while. I know some people, when they get started, and myself included, when I got started, I wasn't charging too much just because, like, are people really going to pay for that? So there's some of this as far as where your skill level's at and everything. But that question came up in the comments section. Somebody was saying how some people just charge way too much, and I started to think about that. Can you really charge too much for art? And it got the wheels in my head turning, and I really wanted to talk about that. So we're going to do that while I do a blueprint drawing here, so let's get to it.
So I got this comment on one of my videos. It was my video, I think it was entitled Fiverr Sucks. And you know, if you know me, I really don't like putting out negative videos or negative content, but things like Fiverr and that kind of thing are just one of those things that I am just, I'm totally against. And you know, so every once in a while I will put up something like that, but I try to put a positive spin on it and give some actions and ideas of other things you can do besides Fiverr or whatever, but that's kind of somewhat beside the point. But the comment, it was, I think the person was a writer, an artist who was doing comics, but he said that he didn't feel his artwork was where he wanted it to be, so he had hired an artist on Fiverr, and I guess he said, well, I just, you know, I didn't give them a quote, I just, you know, this is what they said they charged, and that's what I paid and everything. But one thing he said was that, he said some customers expect too much for too cheap. And I definitely agree with that. But the other thing he said is some artists want too much money for, I think he said, for consistent work. I'm not exactly sure what he meant by the consistent work part, but as far as some artists want too much money, I kind of had to stop and think, and like I don't know that I necessarily agree with that. I don't think an artist can ask for too much money. I think there's a lot of factors. I mean, because of things like Fiverr and everything, and again, I kind of feel that's bad for the industry, because it makes the value of art in general kind of go down. But everyone's art is different. Everyone's art has a different value, and it's some of it is the value you attach, some of it is the value that a customer or would-be customer would attach to your artwork. But because art is so suggestive and so individualized, everyone's art is different, so you can't really, as much as things like Fiverr can kind of bring those prices down, there are still people that charge quite a bit for art, and they are able to sell that art because for whatever reason it stands out, or they have attached more value to their art. It's not like other things. For instance, this drawing I'm doing, it's kind of a mascot for like ice cream. So if you go in the store, you know, you'll see ice creams. Pretty much, it's all kind of the same, you know, same price. There are some that are sort of premium. They might cost a little more, but more or less it's kind of the same. But art has a, you know, it's a huge spectrum from people giving art away for free to artwork that in millions of dollars for a piece of artwork. So it's very broad. So it's not like something like ice cream or some other thing that you find in a grocery store. Although the other day I did see, I saw a tomato sauce, and most of this tomato sauce they run in the canned tomato sauce they run for like $2 or like around $4 is the average. And I saw one that was like $9, and I'm like, who's gonna pay $9? And I started to think about it. I'm like, I wonder if it's really good. I wonder if I should try it just to see if it's really worth it. And I almost did. I didn't. But so there is that. Sometimes if you put a higher price on it, it automatically has, or it has a perception of it being a higher value. So, you know, who's to say how much art is worth? And just because someone's artwork isn't in your budget or may be too expensive for you, that doesn't mean they're charging too much. Art is all about value, and if somebody perceives value in artwork at any price, then that's what it's worth. So I don't know how many of you follow Chris Do or The Future on YouTube, but The Future is a channel. It's basically, you know, it's a school for creatives, and a lot of what they talk about is pricing yourself. And Chris Do charges a premium for both the work he does and his time and everything. And I've seen Chris speak. I've went to one of his workshops. I've seen him you know, speak at events and things like that. And he's very smart, and he the way he breaks everything down and everything. But one of the things that I was looking at is they have a product it's about strategy and how to price based on strategy and all this stuff, and kind of you know, doing what I'm talking about, where, you know, you bring value to your work so you can charge a premium for that work. So I looked at there's a product they have called Core that kind of, you'd have to look into it, but it's all based around knowing who the actual user is and figuring out exactly what that user is so you can cater just to them. And it goes way beyond that and everything, but that's the gist of it. So that product, I think it retails around $800 or something. But if you want to tack on like an hour with Chris Do, it's like an additional $1,000. So that basically means that his time, he gets paid like $1,000 an hour. And you might think to yourself, wow, that's a lot of money. I can't really afford it. And I couldn't afford that. Or maybe, you know, but here's the thing. If it costs you $1,000, and if he's giving you gold, if he's giving you the advice and everything that can turn that around and 10x that to a project that you can maybe get a $10,000 project out of it, then yeah, there's definitely value to that. If you could spend $1 to make 10, who's not going to do that? And of course, nothing is guaranteed, but you know, I have a feeling that if you are willing, or if you have the wherewithal to put $1,000 down to do that, you're going to get some gold, and I think you're going to be able to do something and make your money's worth out of that. I noticed this with like the mastermind group that I joined. So, you know, I was kind of nervous about, you know, putting money down on the mastermind group and everything, but it was totally worth it. I joined the group, and you know, the first product that I launched, the Comic Maker starter or toolkit rather, it basically I've blown basically what, you know, I spent for the mastermind course out of the water with what I've earned from that product. Now, part of that product was already complete, but there was still a lot of, you know, help that my group gave me in marketing this and everything. And also it led me to connections with other people for other products that I have coming up that hopefully will do even better. So a lot of times, unfortunately, it takes money to make money, and sometimes we're in a position where we don't have a lot of money, but sometimes we have to look at investing what we do have, even if it's baby steps, until we can get to the point where we can, if you know, we could get to the point where we can drop $1,000 on something like that. I'm a little ways off from that, but I'm working towards that. But anyway, but I know a lot of people who follow me are comic book artists, so let's put this in terms of comics. So if any of you guys know Adam Hughes, he does pinups and things like that. Very high profile comic book artist, cover artist, and I think he charges for like a head sketch at a convention. I think he charges around $500. Now that's, you know, I don't know how long it takes him. Let's say it takes him 20 minutes to do 20 minutes to do a head sketch that he'll charge $500 for. You know, that's probably more than I'm willing to pay, even though I do love his work. Art Adams is another one. I don't know if he's quite at that range, but I would love a piece of Art Adams work, whether I could afford to put down 500 on it or not. I don't know, maybe. But here's the thing, that he's kind of in that range. If he's doing Adam Hughes, if he's doing a 20-minute sketch for $500, then he's up in that over $1,000 an hour range. And that seems like a lot when you look at it. But here's the thing, people, and I don't really totally agree with this, but people will take that artwork and they'll go on eBay and they'll flip it for they'll flip that $500 drawing for like $1,000 or $1,500. So there is the value is there. So I mean, his work has, people want that work and people are willing to pay for that work that he creates. So even though what he's charging up front may seem like a lot compared to what, there's a lot of artists out there who are doing like $20, $30, $50 sketches at a con, and to most people that sounds a little more reasonable, but they're not Adam Hughes. So you can get to that point. And again, it's all perception and it's all value, what people value that work at. And it's a real thing. It's not just, I mean, the proof is in the pudding. When you see people flipping that artwork for, 3 times what you're paying for it, then you can see the value there. But also, you can, like I said before with that spaghetti sauce, if you charge higher, your work is going to have a higher perceived value. And if you charge lower, people are going to think that it's probably not that good. Now, you have to be realistic with where you are. But if you're a competent artist, you shouldn't be charging next to nothing for your artwork. And I know it's difficult when you really need the job, you really need the money. But I'm trying to get myself in a position where I've got other stuff that's sort of paying the bills where I can afford to turn down work, and that's a kind of a good position to be in. But even if you're starting off as an artist or whatever, or even if you've got a day job, if your day job pays well enough where you can afford to say, nah, I don't need to do this. I mean, that's also a good position to be in. But if you're just relying on artwork to pay the bills, sometimes that's unfortunate because you're going to probably charge less than what you're worth. If you can, try to position yourself to where you can afford to turn down the work. And don't be afraid to charge what your work is worth. Not everyone can do this. You have something special. So, there's value to that.
All right, so there you go. So those are some of my thoughts on charging for work and charging too much. Is it possible to charge too much? I'm sort of the opinion that if somebody's willing to pay for it, can you really be charging too much? I don't know, but this is up for debate, and I would like to talk about it in the comment section. So let me know. Leave a comment in the comment section, and I will talk to you guys later. That is all.
Hey, thanks for watching. If you like what you saw and you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Also, you can follow me at CirqueWorks on social media, and now you can support the work that I do on Patreon. If you like making comics, then go to CirqueWorks.com and pick up the Comic Maker Starter Kit. It's packed full of fonts, brushes, templates, and more. And best of all, it's totally free.